Every dog owner has seen this moment. Dog sitting quietly near the door, watching, waiting, not for food, not for a toy, not even for a walk. And that raises a fascinating question. If dogs spend years following us from room to room, watching our movements, waiting by windows, and lighting up the moment we return, what are they actually waiting for? Most people think they already know the answer. Love, attention, treats. But what if those answers only scratch the surface? What if the one thing your dog waits for throughout its entire life is something far deeper than most owners ever realize? Something so important that it shapes how your dog sees the world, how safe it feels, how connected it feels, and even how it experiences happiness. Today, we are going to explore what canine psychology, behavioral research, and decades of observation reveal about the one thing dogs spend their lives hoping for. Because once you understand it, you may never look at your dog the same way again, and the final truth is far more emotional than most people expect. Common belief most. People assume they already understand what matters most to a dog. They see excitement when the food bowl appears. They see happiness when a leash comes out. They see pure joy when a favorite toy hits the floor. So it feels logical to believe that these things are what dogs care about most. After all, if a dog gets excited for food every day, surely food must be the most important thing. If a dog cannot stop wagging its tail before a walk, surely that is what it wants most, and this belief seems reasonable. But there is a problem. When animal behavior experts began studying attachment in dogs, they noticed something that did not fit this explanation. Dogs often chose something else over food, something unexpected, something that changes how we understand the relationship completely, and this is where the story becomes fascinating. Because if it is not food, not toys, and not walks, then what is it? First out, imagine you leave your home for 5 minutes. Then imagine you leave for 5 hours. When you return, many dogs react almost the same way. The excitement, the relief, the rush toward the door, the desperate need to be close again. Why? If dogs were simply waiting for food, the reaction should depend on hunger. If they were simply waiting for entertainment, the reaction should depend on boredom. But that is not what happens. The emotional response is often far bigger than the practical reward, and that suggests something deeper is taking place. Something emotional, something psychological, something most owners never think about. The truth is that your dog is not only reacting to your return, it is reacting to what your return means, and those are two very different things. Scientific evidence researchers studying canine attachment have repeatedly found similarities between dogs and young children. When dogs are placed in unfamiliar environments, they often use their owners as a secure base, a point of emotional safety, a reference point that helps them explore the world. When that trusted person leaves, stress often increases. When that trusted person returns, stress often decreases. This pattern appears across countless observations. But here is the surprising part. The effect is not limited to fearful dogs. Even confident dogs show signs of emotional dependence on their trusted human. Not because they are weak, not because they cannot function alone, but because relationships matter to them. In other words, your dog is not merely attached to your home. Your dog is attached to you, and that creates an even bigger question. What exactly are they hoping to receive from that attachment? Psychology. Explanation. Most people think dogs live almost entirely in the present, and in many ways, they do. They are not worrying about retirement. They are not planning next year. They are not stressing about tomorrow's schedule. But that does not mean they are emotionally simple. Dogs constantly monitor the people they trust. They watch facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, movement, patterns of daily routines. They are gathering information all the time. Why? Because the person they trust most becomes part of how they understand safety. A calm owner can make an uncertain situation feel safe. A familiar voice can reduce anxiety. A predictable presence can make the world feel stable. And suddenly, the relationship starts looking very different. Your dog is not simply sharing your house. Your dog is building its emotional world around you. But there is something even more important, deeper. Reveal: most owners believe their dog wants constant attention. The truth is more interesting. Dogs do not always need attention, but they do need reassurance. There is a difference. Attention says, "Look at me." Reassurance says, "You are still here." And for many dogs, that distinction changes everything. Think about the moments when your dog quietly follows you from room to room. It may not ask for food. It may not ask for play. Sometimes it simply lies nearby, watching, listening, remaining close. Many people assume this behavior is dependency. Sometimes it is, but often it is something much deeper. Your dog is checking on the person who makes its world feel predictable, the person who represents familiarity, safety, belonging. And suddenly, that simple behavior takes on a completely different meaning: emotional. Translation: when your dog rests beside your chair, it is not always seeking entertainment. Sometimes it is seeking certainty. When it waits near the door, it is not always expecting a reward. Sometimes it is waiting for reassurance. When it looks toward you during something unfamiliar, it is not asking for instructions. It is checking whether everything is okay. Because long before your dog understands a situation, it often looks to understand you, and that is incredibly powerful. Think about that for a moment. Out of everyone in the world, your dog has chosen you as its reference point, its emotional anchor, its trusted constant. Most owners never realize how meaningful that trust really is, but that is only part of the story. Second, reveal as dogs age. Something remarkable often happens. The importance of toys may fade. Energy levels may decrease. Physical abilities may change, but one thing usually remains: the desire to stay connected. Older dogs often spend more time simply being near the people they love, not because they suddenly become less independent, but because experience has taught them what matters most: the relationship, the bond, the familiar presence that has accompanied them through years of life. And this creates one of the most emotional realities in canine psychology. Your dog knows your routines better than you realize. It knows your habits, your footsteps, your schedule, your moods, your voice. You become woven into the structure of its everyday life. And that makes the final truth even more meaningful: the new perspective. So, what is the one thing your dog waits for throughout its entire life? It is not a treat. It is not a toy. It is not even a walk. Those things matter, but they are not the deepest answer. The thing your dog waits for is the continued presence of the person it trusts most, the reassurance that the bond still exists, the confirmation that the relationship remains secure. Every reunion tells your dog something important: you came back. Every moment of connection tells your dog something important: you are still here. Every act of kindness tells your dog something important: you still choose me. And from your dog's perspective, those messages matter more than most owners could ever imagine. Emotional conclusion: one day, your dog will experience its final walk, its final nap, its final ordinary afternoon beside the person it loves. But your dog does not know when that day will come. It only knows today. This moment, this chance to sit beside you, to follow you down a hallway, to watch you come home, to rest near your feet, to simply be close. And maybe that is the real lesson. Your dog is not spending its life counting treats. It is not measuring the value of toys. It is not keeping score of how many walks it receives. It is spending its life investing in a relationship built on trust, presence, consistency, and love. The one thing your dog waits for throughout its entire life is not something you buy. It is something you give: your presence. Because to your dog, your presence is not just part of life. In many ways, it is life. Call to action: if this video changed how you see your dog, let us know in the comments. What is one small thing your dog does that now feels more meaningful than before? And if you enjoy learning the hidden psychology behind canine behavior, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the next fascinating discovery about the mind of your dog.